sharing at the end. Very good. So there's a link that we'll be sharing at the end. If you ever missed any of these sessions, or if you for some reason need to drop off and come back later and you miss it out, we will be putting the links. All the recordings for these sessions will be on that link. So there's a portal that you can access. And then, of course, we're going to be using the chat. We're going to be using the Q&A section. When you type, I'd like us to keep some respect as well, some virtual courtesy, so to speak. All right. But for now, let's get into that prayer, and then I'll tell you what's going to happen after. Peter, I'd like to invite you to say a prayer, then we'll get started.
Good morning, Sam.
Good morning.
Good to see you and good to see all our customers this morning.
Yes.
Let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, this morning we want to appreciate your goodness and your mercies. Thank you for this new day that, Lord, you give us. Thank you for this new year. Thank you for the customers that you've given us. And thank you for the businesses that they are doing. As we start this day and as we start this year and as we continue to do business, we pray, dear Father, that, Lord, you're going to help us manage our businesses better. We pray that, Lord, you're going to give us insights and the tips that we look for so that we're able to grow our business. As we start this webinar session, we pray that, Lord, you're also going to be together with us, you'll guide us, and you're going to help us understand all the things that we're going to learn today. In Jesus' name, we do pray and give thanks.
Amen. All right. Please type amen in the chat. Type amen in the chat. Type amen in the chat. I'm not starting till we have like 100 amens. Please type amen in the chat. Okay. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Geoffrey, and everyone else. Okay, good. All right, so we're good to start. What we like to do is we like to jump in straight away. So this is the session. It takes about an hour and a half. So from 11 to about 11:20, to about 12:20. So about an hour and a half, an hour, 20 minutes of some impactful time for your week, okay? So let me just dial it one step back, let you know who you can expect to see in today's session. We have our speakers, Joram Muinamo, who is CEO. This is read as Sandbox. The first time I saw it, Joram, I should tell you, I was trying to see how do these people read it. And then upon some further research, I discovered it's Sandbox. So pretty cool. CEO Sandbox is going to be talking about 2023, what we can look out for, what we can engage in, all those different things. Okay. Now, Moses Gitao will be with us. And if he's unable, we will be having, I think it will be Anthony Kinyua, who is head of SMEs, to represent the Corp Bank side, to say a quick Happy New Year, and then talk to us about what we can expect from Corp Bank. There's a couple of things that have been prepared for us to help SMEs grow in 2023 with the help of our bank, and the bank would like to let us know what they're having in plan. But introductions from myself, Sam Chimera, your facilitator and moderator for these sessions. Before we get too far down, Joram, I want you to get on video and say a quick hello, and then I'd like also to get a quick hello from, I believe, Anthony, who is here. Oh, no, sorry. I'll take that back. Let's see a quick hello from Anthony. I think I'll give Joram 1 or 2 minutes. I think the connection may have had a challenge. Anthony, are you here? Oh, I think we're having some...
Can you see me now?
Yeah, oh, wait. Trying. Where is Anthony? Yes, sir.
I can
yes,
see that
yes,
my video is now on. Okay.
Yes, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Good. Is it afternoon already? No, it's not yet. Good morning, everyone. Very exciting to be with the whole group.
Yeah.
I love getting into a webinar, and all I can see is entrepreneurs just posting their companies, their businesses. It makes me feel like I'm at home, because everywhere else, when I hang out with my employed friends who, money just checks into their account at the end of a month and they don't have to think of paying salaries, I don't feel like I'm amongst people I know. So it's very exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Good to have you here, Joram. Joram is our guest speaker, and it's going to be, again, I keep reiterating it. We're talking about January 2023. We are all curious to see, man, we need to stand on the shoulders of someone and see what's out there. And Joram is going to help us walk through that. All right. Thanks, Joram. I'll let you be off of video for the next 5, then we'll get into it. I'd like to invite Anthony. I believe Anthony Kinyua. Just double checking if he's available, and if not, that's absolutely fine. All right. You know what? He'll be joining us a little bit later.
Yes.
Okay. So let's do this. Let me walk you through what today's session is going to look like in terms of the agenda. And then at the end of that, I will turn it over to Peter to just speak to us a little bit about the COPE side. Why are we doing these sessions? What's the intention? Are we meeting that? Why are we doing this again in 2023 and that sort of thing? So for our agenda today, we will hear a welcome note from Peter, and then we'll jump into this introduction to the current economic landscape. How can we navigate this over 2023? And then we'll look at some overview with the help of Joram, hand-holding us through what's the overview of key business trends to watch out for. We've just come from elections, and then coming out of COVID, our businesses are a certain way. We need help. We need some direction. We need some perspective. So how does that factor into digital transformation, our e-commerce and sustainability systems as we choose to pick them? After that, we will have some Q&A. So if you have a question, let me let you know now. You'll just put it in the chat or in the Q&A section, and we will hear some responses. We will try to cover as much ground as possible. And then from there, we will hear from the COPE side what is COPE Bank's commitment to us as entrepreneurs, as SMEs, as in 2023, what's the kind of work that we can expect them to help us with, and what are the opportunities there. And after that, that will be the end of the hour and a half or so, and we'll come to the conclusion and hear next steps. All right? So if you're excited, I'm excited as well. For now, let me turn it over to Peter, Head of Non-Financial Services, Peter Ndumia, COPE Bank. Please go ahead, Peter.
Thank you so very much, Sam, for this opportunity. And I hope that I'm audible enough. We are happy and we are excited to see us yet another year. We are excited to see our customers and the entrepreneurs who we always meet here every Thursday to have some discussion around how to move our businesses to the next level. And so a very, very good morning to all of us and Happy New Year. I think this is the first webinar session that we are having this year. We had taken a bit of a break in December just to allow ourselves to implement some of the things that we really learned last year. And we are excited to always share information and also have a deliberate, deliberations around our businesses. So this is the first session, as I said, in this year, amongst our 50 sessions that we had already planned to have as we continue with the year. So this is a part of COPE Bank non-financial services program that we run at the business banking department, just to ensure that we commit to grow this SME or this MSME, which is a very, very critical sector of our economy. And I think in the last 3 or so years, we've been able to have almost 100 webinar sessions, where we have had different speakers and different programs, different topics, just to again see the impact that it would have on growing our economy and growing our business. So I think, as I indicated in the last few sessions, we still commit to offer the solutions, the financial solutions that we offer as a bank, that is the products that we support our businesses to grow. May it be working capital loan facilities, may it be our e-credit facilities, may it be our trade finance solutions, our digital collection and payment solutions, the overdrafts, the asset finance, the mortgage facilities that comes in handy to support our businesses to grow. So, and I know Anthony, who is our head of SME, will be coming, to share more details around our commitment for you as business people this year. And I think for us, in the last few sessions, we had different themes in this particular program. We had financial management running for a whole month. We had topics on sales and marketing, again running for another one month. And then in December, we had come up with another program where we were training on business strategies, trying to lay programs and plans and strategies that we want to implement in our businesses in 2023. And I think for us, it's just to hope that we were able to implement some of the things that we learned in the last 3 or 4 months. And so for us is to really welcome all of us to participate in this particular session, and also to participate in the other upcoming webinar sessions all through 2023. Let's engage. Let's use our chat box to talk to us. Use our question and answer tab to share your questions. And I'm sure we'll be able to respond to you as much as we can, just to make sure that we walk in this entrepreneurship journey to grow all of us and see us go to the next level. And so karibuni sana again, wishing you all the best in this particular year. And I hope that we're going to have a very engaging session. So Sam, back to you. You can continue with the program for the day. Asante sana.
Very good. Thank you so much, Peter. Always good to have you here. Now, let's, so you've had a little bit from the COP side. Let me tell you a little bit about AMI. So this is a collaboration between COP Bank and AMI. So let me let you know a little bit about AMI and what you can come to expect from AMI. So as AMI, who is AMI? What's the why? We're all about enabling ambitious businesses such as yourselves across Africa to thrive. There's a website on there, africanmanagers.org. What we do is we do lots of sessions like these through face-to-face, but also virtual training. And we're all about providing tools and practical help for the entrepreneur to grow across Africa. So we have presence in quite a number of countries. We've reached, especially virtually, 39 countries. We've had about 42,000 people trained over, especially the last couple of years. And then we work a lot with the digital space. So content in lots of languages, 5 languages, about 3,000 practical business tools, so many courses to do online, all available to you. Okay. In fact, today we want to share one quick opportunity that some of you may be interested in. So it's called the Grow Your Business Program. So if your business in Kenya, and that covers everyone who is here, it's a virtual program that will be starting shortly. If you'd like your business to go to the next level, especially as we start there, there's also full scholarships available. So here's an opportunity that you can maximize. I believe Fiona will be sharing the link in the chat. So if you're interested in that, there's also an email. You can reach out to Harold and a number. So I'll give you maybe just maybe 5 seconds or so to take the screenshot if you need to refer to this later. And as soon as you have that, just let me know. Type yes in the chat if you've got the screenshot. At least if 1 or 2 people type, then I'll know we can move on. I don't want to move too quickly and have anyone lose it. So if you have the screenshot, that's absolutely perfect. Then we can move. Oh, a thumbs up. Okay, very good. Thank you, guys. Sablon typed screenshot. Okay, good. Very good. Very good. I love it. Okay, so as we get started, so again, we don't like to take too long before we get started here. Let me know now. Let me engage you a bit. All of us are entrepreneurs, like Joram said. All of us are eager to grow our businesses. We're not content to just sit and have a salary at the end of the month. We want to actually engage and make this money ourselves. But tell me, what's your mind? What is your best business environment prediction for 2023? I know it's not a question you've had for the first time, so just type it in the chat and let's see what your projections look like. What are you anticipating for this year? Okay. I'm just going to give a second in the chat so we can look at that. And that's where we'll start from with our guest speaker today. What's your, sales uptake? Any particular, I know last year there's been it's been quite tough, but I know that do you project that it's going to look worse? Is it going to look better? I was doing some research around this and just remembering how I think it's IMF that did a bit of the research, and they are projecting that 2023 is going to be more difficult generally in the global economy. Do you agree? Do you think it's different? It's going to look better? Good business growth in customer base. Laban is saying it's going to triple sales, overall turnover growth. Okay. Yeah, Emmanuel says, thanks for engaging us early. Yes. In fact, if it could have been earlier, we would have done it. Possibly increased taxation. Yes, KRA is very intentional on that one. Okay, likely to be a tough year. Let me give a few more seconds there, and then I'm very curious to hear what Joram is going to be saying about these projections. Are they in line with his? I don't know. We're just about to find out. Isaac says it's going to be hard now, but it's getting better towards the end of the year. Yeah. James joined for the first day, just for, okay, good. Okay. So it would have been interesting to see what do you perceive is going to be happening in the economy overall, maybe global or national. See, challenging year. Quite a number of us feel it's going to be a challenging year. Okay, let's see. Is there any turn to this challenging year? Let me see, just two or more. Joel says, my ambition is to grow my business more and more to acquire a new Toyota Boxy. Okay, Joel, actually, I think when we come to the Coop Bank section, last year we did a section where we're talking about how you can actually get a car for business. Okay, so Coop Bank can help you acquire a vehicle for your business, and there are good terms there. So stay around. I think we'll come back to it. If that's what you're looking for, Coop Bank is probably going to be helping you. All right. Thanks everyone for your submissions. Now I have the great opportunity of taking a few seconds to speak to you a little bit about our guest speaker. All right. His name is Joram Mwinamo, CEO Sandbox. The only thing about this though is that it's very misleading. So when you see one title, you can assume that that's all the person is. But Joram is definitely quite a number of things and is not just the CEO of Sandbox. He's a management consultant, the coach, is a public speaker. He's passionate about Africa and about seeing how people achieve their greatness. He had the opportunity to do great things out of Africa, but he said, you know what, let me go home. Okay, the other reason is it was, as far as I researched, Norway was a bit cold and we had to come back to beautiful Kenya. So I guess Joram can qualify that for us. But right now, he's a CEO of Sandbox International. Aside from being the company CEO and co-founder, he's the leading strategy and entrepreneurship consultant across Africa. So Sandbox is just one of the things that he's been a part of. It's been a part of Wild. If you remember Wild International, if you've been in engagement with them, he remains a board member. But at the time, he helped co-found, grew it, and eventually exited. And right now, I'm really amazed at just reading a bit about what Sandbox is doing in terms of you go to one place and it feels like, Joram, forgive my image if it doesn't work, but it feels like surgery. Like, you know, like how you have a surgical suit, you're at the table and you have these like hundreds of experts weighing in, others watching and recommending, others like slicing, others moving the liver where it needs to be, others fixing this, like, and that can be your business. Is that a good image? Does that sit with you, or is it a bit not well poorly placed?
It's a bit graphic, but it's
a bit like graphic. Without all the bloody. Business can be a bloody affair sometimes.
That's true.
But the whole point is that all these experts coming around your business to move you towards better. Okay, you define better and they help you move forward. So from whether I talk about insurance, whether it's growth, whether you've grown your business and now you don't know what to do with it, or you're stuck in the middle, or you have this grand idea, how do you get grants? All these different things they cover. And so it gives me great pleasure to invite you to this platform because we have a room full of entrepreneurs, a couple of 100 entrepreneurs, and it's exciting to have a person like you at the start of there. For the sake of credibility, as if you needed any more credibility, Joram has worked with AfriLabs, PSI, Facebook, NCBA Bank, International Trade Center, Alliance for Agra, AMREF, Amani. You know what? We don't have enough time to go through your whole CV, so please forgive me.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like you've lived 2 lifetimes, and you're still a young gentleman. So all to say, welcome. We're absolutely thrilled to have you here. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be hearing from Joram, who is going to be speaking to us concerning 2023. How do you navigate that landscape? All right. So Joram, I've probably given a poor introduction. How would you introduce yourself and what's your why? Maybe if that helps. Okay. Please give a round of applause or share those emojis, put the heart there, the claps to welcome our speaker for the day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sam. And it's a pleasure to be invited. Thank you to CopBank. Thank you to AMI, people who've been good partners of MSMEs in Kenya. My why, I'm passionate about seeing Africans build global businesses. I think for too long, we have looked down on ourselves. For too long, the world has told us we are the dark continent, and we have believed it. But I think we are in an era where Africans can now innovate, build great ideas that would not just impact their own countries, but the region and the world. And so I run Sandbox. We are a one-stop shop to support SMEs. As he said, we have 33 different professional services. So whether you need a lawyer, whether you need a HR, whether you need a marketer, whether you need someone to help with your governance, your accounting, I mean, IT, with your web development, whatever you may need to build in your business, we have at the Sandbox. We are located in Nairobi. But we are just about to open up in Mombasa, and we are also looking at spreading our wings in Nairobi a bit. And then we will come to Nakuru, Eldoret, Kisumu. And we're not going to stop there. We are going to be looking to just keep going. Kampala, Dar, Addis, and Cairo, and others going forward. We are looking to go global with what it is that we're doing, because once we set up Sandbox, we realized that there's nothing like it in the world. And that in itself is a testament that Africans can innovate things that are required globally. So as we speak, I'm in a lot of conversations internationally in Europe, in the US, about replicating our model there, either through franchising, licensing, or the like. So yes, I've built a business from scratch, right from when I started university. When I was finishing university, rather, in 2004, is when we registered Wild International, which I ran until 2019. And then I handed that over, stayed on the board, stayed a shareholder, got a successor CEO, and we set up Sandbox, where I'm now with a different team, just building the company and seeing how we can grow. So you can follow me online. I usually talk about tips on entrepreneurship, and you can see our growing story there. But coming back to what's expected this year, so because you're all business people, I'll start from the global level. I'm sure a lot of you have heard there's going to be a looming global recession, and that's likely because both the US and China are facing a lot of slowdowns, but particularly the US, because when the US coughs, the whole world catches a cold. And they are looking at a recession. They printed a lot of money. And as a result, now in the quest to mop up that money, to get the money back so that there's not so much inflation in the US, they've had to raise interest rates. And as a result, US bonds are very lucrative. And so what's happening is that people are taking money out of every other economy, including Kenya. If you look at why share prices have really dropped in Kenya today, it's because of that. The dollars are going back to US bonds. And so as a result, you find that, a lot of currencies will also be depreciating as a result. It's not just Kenya that is seeing the shilling weakening. It's happening across Africa. The debt situation that Kenya is in is making it worse. And therefore, we are likely to see the dollar actually, strengthen a little bit more by a few shillings within this year. So those of you who are in international trade are going to be impacted by that. Those who are exporting, sometimes it positively impacts you. Those who are importing end up facing the opposite. And also as a result, you're likely to have that impact us locally by increasing prices of imported goods. And so if you're looking at, what's likely to happen in that space, we are likely to have a bit more inflation happening locally. But that said, even as a global economy struggles, when we come down to Africa, a lot of African countries are going to struggle. And even though we have that, one economy that we are trying to build towards, you still have countries like Nigeria, Ghana, people who are very commodities driven, who are struggling as well. And so if you come to East Africa, the situation is slightly different because East African economies are not very driven by commodities. They're quite diversified. And what you've had happening in East Africa is that with DRC joining East African community, The number of East Africans has just grown by almost 100 million people. I know Ethiopia is also angling to join, which would be another 100 million people. So I would say within the East Africa community, you're likely seeing more opportunities than you are seeing the challenges that are happening globally. When we come down to Kenya, our economy is still going to grow at about 5%. This usually doesn't sound like much to the Kenyan, but on average, developed economies grow at between 1 to 2%, with some of them even registering minus 1% growth. And so it's always a good thing that African economies are always growing. Yeah.
I found it interesting, between 2010 and 18, Kenya was actually growing at 5.9. So one of the fastest actually across Africa. Yeah. So
yes, they actually
it's a shame. It's a shame you guys don't. You're not seeing the beauty in 5%. You want 100.
100%. Out of the top 10 economies, 8 usually come from Africa. And so there's something positive at least happening in the continent. That economic growth can sometimes, translate to businesses growing. Although I'm sure everyone in the group might not be feeling it at this point, but what it tends to mean is that, opportunities are growing. Which sectors are likely to grow? Coming off the back of COVID and elections, tourism is one of those sectors that you're likely to see growing. The other one is education, especially higher education from junior secondary going up. And so if you serve any of these sectors, you're likely to be positively impacted. The Kenyan government has put a plan. I think their number one priority is MSMEs. They even created an entire ministry for it. They've put for you a fund called the Hustler Fund, which some of you may be borrowing and repaying. And so they've put their money where their mouth is. I know they're also going to be investing a lot in agriculture, housing, and just trying to get the economy jump started. And so as we look forward, there's going to be economic growth. One of the things somebody mentioned here is that KRA will definitely be a lot more, stringent.
Vigilant.
A lot more vigilant. They are going to be coming after you. So if you're not tax compliant, that is something that you'll want to consider putting in place. But what does all this mean for the Kenyan entrepreneur? I think coming off the back of COVID and elections, we are going to see a much easier economic environment than those last 2 years. Those two tend to really negatively affect the economy and constrain what people can spend on. A lot of us built a lot of resilience during COVID. It cut a lot of costs. Some people let go of offices and the like. So a lot of entrepreneurs are now operating very lean. We are not, quick to invest in offices and infrastructure and the like, and therefore we are operating with very limited costs. And so, in my opinion, what am I to do as an entrepreneur? Probably continue with that conservative, investment in your overhead costs. But you can also prepare to grow quite a bit. The economy is going to open up quite a bit, and people will likely be spending. So as people said, like they're looking to increase their sales, that's likely to happen, and it's also likely to happen in the next 3 years, because usually we have growth until we start the journey towards the next election, and then the economy starts to slow down again. And so, we say this is a time to make money and then stock up. And as you make money, please save and invest and diversify. Yeah, your money in the background. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You saw what COVID could do to certain industries where your entire business just shuts down, and then if you have nothing else you do, you find you're completely out of business. So you can learn how to invest in things like government bonds, mutual funds, and just put some money, little monies in a few other places that can help you to stock up. But as far as your primary business is concerned, and particularly in a lot of areas that we see, if you're quite aggressive now in selling, in trying to get clients during this period, you're likely to succeed a lot better than you did in the last 2 years. And despite what is happening globally, Africa still tends to, see those particular gains. One of the things that's happening globally is that we're starting to see a contraction of talent professional talent, in the West in general. And so I see a lot of companies starting to come to Africa to look for talent, to look for nurses.
Especially with the
engineers.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. You can comment.
No, I was going to make a comment on also the like using the digital platforms in terms of remote working. There's also that yes. I think is picking up.
Yes, just yesterday I was in a call with a global firm that is looking to hire, Kenyans who can do accounting, HR services, payroll, and the like on behalf of global companies. And so that is a trend we are likely to continue seeing, where people will be looking for talent for IT, talent for professional services from African countries. Kenya tends to be good in serving English-speaking countries out there. And so there would be opportunities in that space. If you're in the talent HR space, there would be opportunities in, giving talent. What will also happen is that you're likely to have more demand for Kenyans to go into the diaspora. And as we know, diaspora contributes to the largest amount of money in terms of foreign exchange earnings. And so that is also likely to grow. So if you also have a product that can target diaspora and you're honest and trustworthy, there's a lot of opportunities there. A lot of them are looking to invest back home or set up businesses back home or, set themselves up for when they eventually return. And so I would say overall, a lot of opportunity, Sam. A lot of opportunity. So I would say just keep deepening your offerings. Don't be spread out too thin. Kenyans like doing too many businesses at the same time. So maybe just focus on one or two at most, but go very, very deep into that one or two businesses that you're doing so that you have a very good offering. You give expanded offering to your clients so that in the next 3 years, we can make as much money as there is to be made so that we can, prepare ourselves for the period that comes after that. I would give that as an overview. I don't know if there are questions right now that you have that I could answer. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for flagging that. Let me remind everyone, if you have a question, we have a chat box. Just put it in the chat. So all questions, put them in the chat. I will come to them shortly. Okay. So if you have a question for Joram about something that he's mentioned or something that you'd like him to touch on, put it in the chat. I'll ask him a few more questions. Joram, you went like high speed there, so I may bring you back on one. I think like once you get into like it's like, okay, I know I'm stopping, but let him. But this, okay. So I'm going to also bring you back to some of those other elements that you mentioned. But yes, so if you have a question, please put it in the chat and we can have Joram comment on it. An instance might be your particular industry. I know quite a number of us here are in wholesale and we're in trade and all these different things. So we will take care of that. But if you want to be more specific on how that looks in 2023, please put it in the chat. Joram, inflation. Give me your comments. It's been interesting.
So one of the interesting things I say about Kenya is that inflation has been almost consistent, 6-7% year on year. There are times it shoots up to 10, maybe goes down to 5. But we are a country that is kind of used to inflation. It's something we've lived with for the last 20 years. And so I think people have become a lot more resilient in just how they, manage their lifestyles around inflation, COVID, and elections. I think really stretched us to the limit. And I know a lot of people made with lifestyle adjustments. They moved to cheaper houses. They moved, if they lived in the cities, they moved a bit far away to like cheaper housing. Some people moved out of the bigger cities completely into smaller ones. So people made a lot of adjustments. And even this year, the inflation rate is, probably going to remain at around 7 to 8%. So it means you're going to see things become a bit more expensive. Where we hope the government is going to do something is when it comes to the cost of electricity. Although I saw an announcement yesterday that means it might still go higher, and fuel. And so I don't think we can. So the thing is, when fuel and electricity go up, it impacts everything else because people have to factor the cost of oil and transport into their goods. So you see everything else going up. So you're likely to see the prices of things continuing to inch upwards. If it's imported goods, because of the weakening of the dollar, again, you're likely to see things becoming more expensive. So when it comes to inflation, the only choice we have as business people on one side is maybe be innovative about our pricing, innovative about how we package our products, because people have less money to spend, but they can spend it in smaller amounts. So if you're able to break down your pricing, especially if you're in services, so that they can pay as they go, then maybe it increases your chances for remaining in business. If you're in retail, if you're stocking, products, maybe it's about how to break down products so that you can, or look for products that you can sell in smaller bits and pieces, again, because people have less money. And so that's how we keep coping with inflation, where we reduce costs and become innovative with our pricing as business.
Okay. Can I get your comment on the impact of public debt on the SME?
Yeah, so public debt is what is making KRA become very stringent on collecting money, because I think next year
very stringent, and they're very, very, very ambitious. I know also the introduction of new taxes, capital gains, all these different things from 5% to 15%, the ETR. Like, it looks like there was a serious meeting, and the SME is getting the brunt of that meeting.
Yes, so that public debt is what is making government very stringent on collecting money. So they're not going to stop. But also the other thing is that we've had a lot of people not been paying taxes. So I think we only have about 5 million taxpayers. Most of them are employees out of an 18 million workforce. That tells you it's a very small number of people who are overall paying taxes. So KRA is looking at how do we rope in the other, 15 million who can potentially pay. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think people will make much wiser leadership choices if they're all paying taxes. But that said, prepare yourselves as they do the new ETR machines. They'll be getting, your sales figures in real time. So unless you completely go under the radar, which I don't think will be very possible, I think they're also looking to plug into.
There's a limit to tax avoidance.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, people like Mike can teach you how you can, become compliant. So make sure you take advantage of that. But yes, so that debt situation is what is pushing for the collections. We have a big repayment coming up next year. We'll probably need some debt restructuring. But it will mean that if government owes you money, they're still probably not going to be able to pay as quickly. The government will continue to borrow from banks as well, which means they're competing with SMEs when it comes to borrowing money from banks. So I don't see too much changing in that particular space.
Okay. What's the opportunity that comes with, you kind of touched on many things, so I want to bring you back to the fact that East African communities is widening, but also the fact that Kenya has a large middle class. What's the opportunities around there?
I think with the economy growing, you'll always have more people being able to spend, particularly on what you may consider services or luxury goods. And so the number of people entering the middle class continues to grow. I think with our counties system, you begin to see certain counties now are lacking adequate housing. You even find the county officials live in a neighboring county and work in that particular county. If you go to places like Wasin Gishu, Iten, and the like, you find such scenarios happening. So in the counties, you may find increased demand for things like housing, services, things like schooling, because people are looking for better private schools maybe for their children. So that could be an opportunity that's now across the country. And that economic growth is going to continue. And so if some of you are wondering why, some people seem to be getting wealthier a lot faster, maybe it's because they are targeting those middle class spenders. Even during, elections, COVID and everything, you would still go to some of the high-end restaurants and you find they're full, and you find some of these restaurants are also setting up branches now across the country. I think you can find Javas in places like Kericho and, Naivasha and those kinds of places. So that tells you there's people with more money in those particular locations. And so as a business person, if you have products and services that you can target at that group that is earning more money, you're likely to have a business that is succeeding a little bit better than when you're serving the lower income people.
Yeah. So on this next question is, I did quite a bit of research on you, sir, and I should say I needed more time. In fact, I want to share a link I know you're very modest, but I want to highlight this. There's a link I've shared in the chat where Joram sits down and just talks about his own entrepreneurship journey from when he was young to all the achievements he's been able to have. And it's called CTA, for those who are not familiar with CTA, but it's a sit down kind of like this, and Joram talks through all those things. Why do I bring this up? Is just something that you've touched on. There's a point in your entrepreneurship journey, there's no time to give the full context, where you realize that you had positioned yourself for a niche market, but there was wider opportunity and you could value yourself, like the skills and your offering better. Could you touch on that? Because I feel it lines up well with how we can maximize some of the opportunities that you're talking about.
Yes.
You can frame it if you like.
Whichever, yeah. So I think a lot of Kenyans tend to go into business to do business on the basis of they saw somebody else do that business and they saw like there's money there. And so what tends to happen is you find so many of us end up crowding in one business, and then all the gains that are there end up running out. But what happened in my history is because we were always keen on trying to, find, solutions for people who are serving. One of the things that we ended up finding out is that a lot of entrepreneurs did not know where to find solutions of how to build and grow their business. And so as we invested more and more in that, it ended up becoming a complete niche area. And we ended up opening up an entirely huge market that nobody had been looking at, and our business has ended up growing in leaps and bounds as we serve that particular demographic. Even the institutions came asking to partner with us. People like Facebook have been our clients, helping, train small businesses. And so what I always tell business people is, don't just go after what you see other people doing. Find an area that is underserved. Find an area that people are ignoring, and build your business around it. It may take some time, but eventually, when you open it up, it can open a whole world of a difference in the kind of business that you end up building. So I know I didn't have time to go into a lot of detail, but I just thought that's how I could.
Yeah. Well, no, but it's very valuable because I did want to set it up so that we can also pick some tips from your own journey. And while we are still on that subject, before I open it up to other questions, I have a few that I wanted to run by you. So I'm an entrepreneur here. You've done really well. I think it's a bit, I could say, in my own very limited opinion, I could say it's a bit like your superpower. Somehow, either strategically or by divine grace, you line up well with people who have strengths that you don't. Like yours is in sales and marketing and this like very big, putting things together. And then you line up with people earlier in your business life, someone who does content while you're still doing training and so on, and you do the sales. And even now in Sandbox, I realize that's the whole premise, right? It's partnering with people who are pros at what they do. Speak to the entrepreneur in the room. How do we do that?
Yeah, I think as entrepreneurs, we shouldn't be shy to admit we have weaknesses and to admit the things we are not very good at. In fact, I say the best entrepreneurs are those who are very self-aware of what they can do and what they cannot do. And what you cannot do, don't struggle, trying to get good at it. Sometimes find somebody who's already very good at that area and they can help you so much quicker, so much faster. And so I always say there's very many entrepreneurs who are competing. Well, in my opinion, they should be collaborating. They'll probably build a much bigger business when they bring their different skills together, their different strengths together, and then they'll be able to build so much bigger. Something in our culture built us to be very competitive with one another rather than collaborative. And so instead of looking at how I can bring a strength into something and you bring a strength and then we both benefit a lot bigger, we look at, how can I make the most out of this particular situation? So I always say, know yourself, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, partner or collaborate to, counter your weaknesses or find people who are very strong in areas that you're weak at. And as a result, they'll end up, propping you up. That is how I've been able to, build the businesses that I've built. I would never have been able to leave my previous business to build this second one if I had not gotten a very complementary, strong, partner who now is a CEO and they're able to keep it growing, just because of the complementary strengths we brought in there. So we can view ourselves as being able to build those great businesses that can outlive us. Sometimes it means bringing in investors who have money, and find out the structures that can do that, and that they can be able to help you, grow to the next level. We did that for Sandbox. We were able to raise some money, and we were able to set up a business like no other in the field that we are in.
I like how you say you were able to raise some money. Very, very modest of you. There's no time to get into how much money Joram and his friends raised for Sandbox. I've put the link in the chat. It's an exciting story, thousands upon thousands, an amount that even they were shocked. So I will not tell you the amount. I'll leave you wondering. The link is in the chat. You follow and check on their story. But Joram, I want to touch on one of your big areas. You're passionate about Africa, and you're constantly saying we have the capacity, we can come up with these ideas, we can follow through. Something doesn't have a unique quality just because you stamp made in USA or made in Europe or made in China. We need to believe in our own capacity. So, and you're good with that, and you push on, stick with it until it. Please touch on that, because I feel like, especially for 2023 in June, someone might be second guessing what they can do, but you're saying, no, you have what it takes.
Yeah. I think creating value that lasts takes time, and it takes doing a lot of research, going in depth. It takes a lot of experimentation, sometimes with clients, and then tweaking your product until you find something that works very well. And sometimes I find that as Kenyans, we want to make money too quickly, too soon. So we are in a hurry to make a killing, and therefore we cut a lot of corners and do a lot of shortcuts, and then our businesses don't end up lasting a very long time. So I would say invest in your craft, invest in your business, invest in understanding everything there is to, understand about the business that you're running. Invest in good skills in your business, things like finance. Coop Bank will not give you a loan if you do not have management accounts that they can look and see the trend of your business and see that you're actually profitable. So invest in skills that will help you add value to your business. Invest in good talent, pay people well. And if you're able, to build a business that is resilient and where people can trust you, and the quality that you deliver time in, time out, then you begin to build that business which can, last several generations. So no cutting corners. We started with a prayer here. And sometimes I'm surprised how many times I can go across a country where we start with a prayer, but we are still happy to be corrupt. I would encourage people not to do such things, because if you're to build a great business, it has to be based on value. And value has to be based on, people are paying you for what it is that you're delivering. And so if we build such businesses, like I said, mine has been there from 2004 to 2018, and even after I left, has continued to grow. They are doing so much better than they were doing when I was running it. And I've been able to build a second business. You only do such things when you invest in, understanding and putting the best systems, processes, people into the business that you're running. Yeah, IMI does a good job at educating people around such things. Yeah.
Thank you. Isaac has a question. Isaac, let me just read it out. Can I invest in housing, or do we have I don't know if it's a glute or something? Can I? A glut. Yes. Is government not in competition with? Let me just read it out fully. Is government not in competition with the investors in this sector now? And also the second question, Boniface says, how is the local financial sector likely to perform? So let's start with the housing and the glut. I need to be educated about that one as well. And then also comment on the financial sector, local, within Kenya.
We don't have a glut in housing. Where we may have a glut is in premium housing. But when it comes to housing for bed sitters, one bedroom, 2 bedrooms, we don't have enough supply. I've seen some statistics say we can build 200,000 every year for the next 10 years, and we still won't meet the demand that's there. Really? I also mentioned that, when it comes to housing, some of the places we are facing very big shortages for housing, and even things like hostels around the new universities and polytechnics.
So to be specific, low-cost housing.
Yeah. Yes. Low cost, and it could also be medium. Yeah. Housing. There's still a lot there. But I would say if you've not done it before, don't just jump into it blindly. You need to do your research as to the areas that have this demand, so that when you put up something, if you look at certain companies like Savo does some of the mid to high end around the bed sitter 1-2 bedroom. Every time they finish a development, it's taken up immediately. If you look at some of the apartments that are coming up in peri-urban areas, in the cities, you also have them being taken up. Low cost housing as well. If you're able to lease and put up housing, where you're looking at 3,500 to 10,000 rent around the cities, there's, I think, a lot of opportunity for things like that. But that's it. If you're not in the housing industry,
do your research.
Do your research very well before you invest. But we do have a lot of demand. How is the financial sector likely to perform? Today, the stock market has taken a hit because of foreign money going back to invest in American bonds. But there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the businesses showing lower share prices than they had before. So you're likely, maybe it's a good time to buy some of the good counters, local banks, telecommunications, Coop Bank. I will give them a shout out. It has always been a good share to buy, because Coop Bank, is based on the cooperative movement, and they are now looking to go Pan-African. And same thing with people like KCB, NCB, and the like. So when it comes to the investment space, if that is your thing, and you have good advisors, there's quite a few opportunities there where stocks are very cheap right now, so it will be good to buy. When it comes to things like money markets and T-bills and bonds, if you have the amounts for that, again, they've always been very good investments to make as far as Kenya is concerned. So if you have some extra money, you can do that. The financial sector is likely to continue doing quite well. It has been quite resilient. Banks are the only industry still making record profits, despite the fact that we've had COVID and elections. That sector continues to be very resilient. Yeah.
Very good. So I'm down to my last 2 bits. I want us to use 2 minutes for this one. Not everyone is struggling, contrary to popular belief. Some of us can be in the middle of a struggle. Some of us but there's some of us who may have gotten a spike somehow, and we're doing well. Now, when you gave your talk and I was listening and watching, I found it interesting. You touched on something to do with complacence. It's easy to get complacent when you're doing well. Could you touch a bit on that?
Yes, I think when things are good, it's probably time to invest in things like reserves, to invest your profits in, to diversify into other sectors. But they say when things are going good, is actually the time to be paranoid, that a recession is on the way. And so even as we begin to have a growth in the economy, is I would say, you can capitalize on the gains you're going to make at this point, but with the thought in mind that our economic cycle is 5 years. So every 5 years we have an election, and the economy is going to slow down. So in the next 3 years, make as much as possible, capitalize on it, but also prepare for the coming 2 years that are going to slow down a little bit. And it's in those times that we usually strategically, advise people on how to spend time innovating, to spend time strengthening their businesses, maybe doing renovations. If you're in hospitality, that's a time, when you have low traffic is when you do the renovations, and, when you're not disrupting business quite a bit. So there are always things you could be doing to improve your business and make sure that when we come out on the other end, you're stronger. So the businesses that were strong before COVID are probably the ones that are still there today, and beginning to capitalize on the growth that is happening.
So use the years of plenty to prepare for the years that
there's a biblical principle around that. Store for 7 years.
Yes. Okay. So the last question I'll ask, and then will be after that, I'll ask you to share your socials and how we can follow you. Maybe you can type it out in the chat section so people can pick it up. Please touch on the beginning of 2023. Some of us have built a company, right? and others are still building a company, though around our brand, like a personal brand. You know, that dynamic there. How can I set that up better for 2023 so that I build that with the future in mind as opposed to the immediate short-term gain?
Business that you run as an individual may feel lucrative in the short term because you're keeping all the money, you're not paying other people and everything. But it can become a problem in the long term when you don't have other people who can work with you and you generate profits. What happens if you're unwell and going to hospital for 2 weeks? Does your business close down? What happens, if you need to travel? I have consulted with businesses where somebody has run a business for 30 years and they've never taken a month of leave. You can imagine what that does to, your exhaustion and those kinds of things. And so it's always very helpful to try and build a structure, to build systems, hire good and trustworthy people. And that enables you to at least free yourself and also build a business that can potentially make you create more wealth for you down the line. And so that means understanding things like financial systems, and your accountant might be outsourced, or it might be somebody you hired internally, but make sure they're competent to be able to give you good financials that can tell you how your business is doing. Down the line, you might need to get somebody to help you just document how you do everything you do in the business, so that when you hire other people, you can be able to show them step by step how to do it the same way you're doing it. And then over time, they're able to do it themselves without you having to look over them. You're looking at things like, we talked about digitization. Sometimes getting an application that helps you see what is happening in your business. It could be on your phone, or you've employed some technology that is helping you see the information about what's happening in your business. Technology will always be good, whether it's using apps that help you track things that are happening in your business. All those help. So always look out to build a business that can outlive you. Sometimes this may sound strange and foreign to many people. Having a board of advisors or a board of directors helps you be very accountable and tap into the wisdom of people who are maybe older, more experienced than you, who can help your business become better structured. So all those are things to consider. And I tell people, don't think of yourself as a big business. Think of yourself as a big corporate business and what it takes to get there, and then invest in the things that will help you become that big corporate business. And you can be able to then create wealth for generations to come.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Joram Muinamo will please give us a thumbs up, give us the heart, give us the expression of joy, the fact that he's here as he types his socials in the chat. Lots of appreciation coming through there. Thank you, Joram, for spending some time with us, especially at the beginning of the year. I know that we've benefited quite a bit, and we will look forward to seeing your comments. Your comments in the on the socials that you've been working with. I'm going to go ahead and post that on for everyone. Sorry, just there you go. So that's I've just put that for Joram on LinkedIn, Facebook, Joram Muinamo, and we'll keep reminding you about that. Thank you, Joram, and I really appreciate the time you spent with us. Thank you. All right, so we've heard from Joram. Now we are very curious to hear, okay, so what does the bank have in store for us? So it's 2023. We believe that the best is yet to come. We're excited about the year, and we have a wonderful bank, Hope Bank. And today we want to hear from the bank, and the person who's going to be representing the bank is none other than Anthony Kinyua, who is head of SMEs. Anthony, welcome. If you could kindly switch on your video and then just walk us through, but first say maybe a quick hello, and then there you go. Hello, Anthony, how are you?
I'm very fine, Sam. How are you?
It's very good to see you. Very good to see you at the beginning of the year like this.
Great. Good to also see you and also to connect with our customers.
Yes. So speaking of customers, everyone here is curious to hear, what does my bank have in store for me? So with no further ado, I will go off of video and allow you to just walk through some of the products that you have and some of the commitments that you want to make to the customer. And at the end, maybe that will take maybe 5-10 let me know if it'll take maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll have some time to do some Q&A. I know some people also have some questions for the bank in the chat. All right. Over to you, Anthony.
Thank you. And it's afternoon. Good afternoon, all. It's great to have us all. A happy New Year to all of us. And indeed, we thank God for the gift of life and the gift of health. Joram, thank you so much. That was very insightful. I would take some notes. As we make money as business people, let's ensure we invest, diversify, and ensure that then we have solid management in our businesses. I like the point about us now investing in 3 things: people, process, and our products. That was awesome. And asante sana. We can only have more sessions like this. And one of the things then we are doing again for MSME customer, this is also an investment in skills to know how do I navigate within these tough macro and microeconomic environment. So on behalf again of the bank, thank you so much for all our listeners who have joined. I'll go straight to what is the bank's commitment to MSME, to say for sure this year we have been favored, even from the government side of it. I know we have now a dedicated ministry dealing with MSMEs and also cooperatives. And the bank has also positioned itself as an MSME and a cooperative bank, just from our identity. So in terms of MSME, I want to say that we have set aside a 50 billion kitty for this year, for 2023, to ensure that we support our customers, do expansion, acquire asset. Those I have seen some insightful question on how on the housing industry. So we're also supporting in the mortgage and trade finance. Again, those who would want to purchase the new and used motor vehicle financing, we have a very attractive asset finance solution. And want to say that it's picking up well. I keep on saying in every 10 vehicle ahead of you, 4 or 5 are financed from cooperative bank. And we can only invite you to come and patronize our services. Again, we have also invested a lot in our relationship managers, who we call bankers, business bankers at every branch. We have about 161 branches, and in each branch we have an average of 3 to 4 relationship managers. So we have across the bank over 800 bankers who support us with our various needs and are very well trained. We also have a quick turnaround time of 24 hours, and we have even gone digital. With our customers, so that you are able to apply your loan or your solution at the comfort of your business premises. Again, as a bank, and I know Joram talked about the issue of COVID and how we have been able to come out of it. We have for sure invested as a bank in the digital channels. We have MCOP Cash. We have a new solution called a COPTIL, where you're able to make payment and collection free of charge. We have COP agents where we are not represented. Then we have partnered with MSMEs. And as Joram was speaking, he could say, look out for those opportunities. If you have a business, you can also be our COP agent, so that you also have some income to supplement whatever you're also earning. We have COP Online, we have ATMs over 400, and that is great. And M collection for those who are in the housing industry or schools and would want the tenants or the parents to pay school fees, then we are able to give you that platform that you're also able to do reconciliation. Again, we have mobile MSME loan I talked about. You can actually borrow up to 1 million over the phone. And this eliminates and saves a lot of time and a lot of engagement. So you can borrow this within your phone. And the trick to it is, let us understand your business. Let us understand your transactions. And
just double checking. Can you hear me? I'm just double checking if I'm the one who's frozen or it's Anthony who's frozen. Fiona, could you let me know? Okay, I believe we may be having a small challenge. Anthony, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, good. I think it had frozen a little bit. Please go ahead.
Okay, I can go ahead. Maybe at what point did you lose me? Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Oh, so that's fine. So as a bank, what are we doing other than providing the financial services to our MSMEs? Or we have other, and I want to quote what Joram had said, is we need to really invest in even at our business level. We need to invest in our business, invest in our staff, invest in skills. One of the things then CoBank is committed to is to say, other than the normal financial services, what else we need to offer our customers? Number one is what we are doing now, the webinars, and we'll keep on inviting Joram, and I think he has also talked about some of the changes that are likely to happen within the taxation brackets. We'll continue partnering with experts to ensure that we give you insights and show you even the red tapes that can affect your business through webinars, which like this one. So over the year, we have lined up 50 of such webinars. And I also encourage, as you attend, you can drop in a chat. Who would you like to hear? Or do you want us to invite a certain speaker? Just give us as feedback so that we are able to ensure that all the things that you need clarity, we're able to bring experts, whether on taxation matters, customer matters, profitability matters, we're able to bring them to this session. We also have MSME forums. So we will be jump-starting our forums. We have lined up 15 this year. This is where we come back to where your businesses are. We organize, these are regional forums. We do them across the country. So we'll come to where your businesses are located and pitch in a town and have one-on-one sessions with the audience, which is business people, so that we're also able to get feedback, visit some of your businesses and just exchange ideas as we take feedback. Then we have what we call the business clinics. Our 800 business bankers are well trained. So what we have done is we have enabled the branch to call its customer and talk on a certain topic or issue that you feel as a business people maybe you need. So we have appointed over 100 of our RMs who have been well trained and are able to hold those training. And these I'll call them like devolved training across our network. Then we also have exposure trips. We have exposure trips. So soon we'll be announcing on where maybe we can take us for exposure, business exposure, so that you're also able to benchmark. And again, we have all these material. We have an MSME portal within the bank where we keep all these materials and you're able to access and enrich your skills. If I can go to the next slide, is also to say, in a nutshell, what we are saying, and also cementing what Joram had taken through us, we need to have that in market intelligence, and that now speaks to what is our business needs as MSMEs. They revolve around three things. One, transactional solution. You need someone who is offering you tools of trade that you're able to access, have an account that has an array of, some added advantage. We have very exciting package accounts, a gold account, a silver account, a bronze account that even comes with an insurance and comes with a credit card limit. It comes up with some goodies in terms of being able to access some unsecured lending within the mobile phone or within our network. That helps you to to do the transaction. We also need a solution where you, as a business, a key business need, you need to pay, and you also need to collect. So we have some very exciting digital channels that gives us the payment and collection solutions that are available, the COP-Till, the COP Online, the COP kwa Jirani Agent, the e-commerce platform, so that as the business dynamic changes, then we're also able to facilitate you do the transaction. And lastly, I think one of the favorite one for us is the lending solution. And as I had alluded earlier, we have both secured and secured. We have the mobile, we have the investment solutions like asset finance, trade finance, mortgage that you can patronize within our branch network. So I think what I'll say is, let's take advantage of the solutions that and these trainings that we are being given by the bank, and we as a bank is a full commitment that in 2023 we will be able to support the MSMEs within the country. So just want to wish us well and a very successful 2023 with a full commitment that from the bank will cater for your needs. Thank you so much, Sam, over to you.
Very good. Thank you so much, Anthony Kinua, Head of SMEs. Very good. So it's obvious, if you haven't already realized, I hope it's obvious by now that Coop Bank is very interested in supporting the SME to track their way to progress through the year. I'm also just looking at the chat. I think it was Edwin Mokua asked a question to Joram asking about tools for tracking business. And there's a response in there, maybe for the sake of everyone to listen to also. He says there are Kenyan apps like Uhasibu, that is cheaper than QuickBooks, Zero, Tally, and Sage. If you have an accountant, the programs they mentioned are excellent for keeping accounts. You can also outsource your accounting to an accountant who uses the program like Zero, and you have access to it as long as you keep uploading pictures of the receipts. So if you're in Nairobi, Sandbox has an outsourced accounting company. So there's lots coming through. Now I want us to take the next 10 minutes to focus on Coop Bank. If you have a question for Coop Bank, we would like to put it to Coop Bank. Maybe Anthony can help us get some perspective on a response. Let me just go to Q&A. Let's see. Augustine Maunda is asking, would you comment on land title deed loans?
Okay, thank you. Yes, we have what we call, we have 3 types of loans that you can take with us from the bank. There's what we call the mobile loans that are available on phone. There's what we call the unsecured loans that we look at your transactions and you're able to give you 100%, 100% of your Coop banking turnovers. So if you're doing 10 million, we're able to give you 10 million unsecured, but with a rider there that at least we're able to see all your transaction. The other type 3 that has been asked is what we call the secured loans. And secured loans here is in where you pledge a security, a landed property as a security to guarantee your borrowing. And what we do here is once you bring us the title, once we do the valuation, then we are able to give you up to 80% of the value of the property that you have given us. And you're also able to consider a longer tenor for those secured, we call them secured loans. Thank you, Sam.
And I hope that also addresses Geoffrey's question, because Geoffrey was asking, how can I acquire a business loan? I believe that you've touched on all those aspects. Did you want to add anything regarding anyone who may be interested in getting a loan? Anthony?
Yes, if you are interested in a loan solution, one of the key things I would say is have a sitting with our business bankers across the network. Let's come and give what you call, and I know Joram talked about, you have the statements, you have your books that you do, that the accountant has done for you. You have your mobile phone transaction, because what I say is we are only able to understand you through the transactions and the sales volumes that you're doing. So as long as you have those ones, then walk in. If you are Coop Bank, you're lucky. because we are able to pull at a glance and get your what we call your credit and debit transaction, and you're able to compute how much you're able to qualify, and you are now able to align with your business need. And again, to say, as long as the business is there, you're able to prove that the inflows, your outflows, then you are able to qualify for a facility. If you're not able to walk into our co-bank branches and you have an account with us, on a monthly basis, we usually send SMSs to you with the limit that we have allocated you on your mobile phone so that you're able to borrow. Thank you, Sam.
Very good. I'm just looking at the chat right now. Someone is saying, I'm in areas, Christopher Nganga is saying, I'm in areas with Hope and I'm not doing any transactions now due to the loan. I'm unable to pay by now. What do you advise Christopher? If he's in a difficult spot, he has a loan, he's not able to pay, business is not doing really well, how can he go about that?
Thank you, Christopher. I think we say the banks are not, we are not fair weather bankers. We don't want to come to you when you're doing well. I think the bank is a partner that would want to work with you. My advice to you is visit the bank. If you're able to discuss on what we call a moratorium and a restructure, explain your business, say, this is what I was doing, this is the difficulty that I'm facing, I'm likely or I'm projecting to see X number of cash flow at a given month. So you have two options there. Maybe the bank can give you what you call a cooling off period or a moratorium period, then restructure based on now your future projection and when you're likely to see when you're likely to have some income streaming in. But what I will encourage you is go and have a conversation. Don't shy away. We also have if you remember last year but one, we had restructured over 10 billion loans for MSMEs. And one of the exciting revelation that we had last year towards that is we saw over almost 80% of those businesses that we restructured now being on foot and doing very well. And some of those ones that we even restructured then are the ones now we are even giving loans this year. So don't shy away, just look at the possibility of that moratorium or a restructure. But again, also be clear on when am I likely to start commence business, when am I likely to get the incomes or inflows, then match the two so that again, you're able to get out of it. Thank you, Sam.
Good, Anthony. There's someone who was asking me to go back to this slide. I think it's an exciting slide showing core bank's commitment to MSMEs in 2023. And there's a lot to benefit from here. Calvin's, on the other hand, though, is asking, am I able to access these privileges and these perks if I don't bank with Coop? Anthony, what's your response?
Yeah, these are solutions and a commitment to all MSMEs. As long as you're doing any business, this is our commitment. We are open. If you don't have an account with us, this is where you are banking. That is what will form your history. And so it's for new, existing, anyone, because it's a commitment for MSME, not only for those who are banking with us. So if you're not banking with us, you have your M-Pesa statement, we're able to understand your business. You have your other bank statement or SACCO statement, please come to us. We'll consider that. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Anthony. I'm sure that brings an injection of hope, because sometimes, especially if I'm here for the first time, I may assume that all these things are only for people who are with hope, but I like that you're welcoming the conversation. Simon Kamande, I'll take maybe two other questions. Simon Kamande is asking, what is the interest rate for construction loan and commercial property? And what's the longest repayment period?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that question. It's coming at a time where banks, and I know majority of us have also received SMSs and what we call addendum letters. We all know what is happening. The central bank has raised its base lending rate. So as a bank, we have also gone a little bit high, I'm saying we are at 15%. and the period that the maximum period you can get is up to 15 years for the mortgage.
Very good. All right. At this point, I want to flag, I think Pauline and a few other people were asking, how would you get this recording? How can you access it? I'm putting a link in the chat right now. There you go. So that link in the chat is the recording we will find the recording for today and also any other former sessions that we may have had. Okay. Ronnie is asking, Anthony, if you can respond to this. This is to do with the system. We're having issues with COP-TIL notification messages. So no messages received between midnight and 4 in the morning. Customer receives, but myself as recipient, I don't receive.
Thank you. Yes, COP-TIL is our new solution, a collection solution. We had some slight challenges, and I can assure that our technical teams are looking into it. We have gotten that feedback, and something is being done. What we experienced was a lot of transactions are happening over the weekend, so that caused a bit of a snarl up. But now we are good to go, and I know I'm told by 8:30 today that was sorted. But if it has not been sorted, please visit or call your relationship manager. They will be able to advise you further. But I know as at 8:30 today, that issue was resolved.
Very good. Thank you, Anthony. I'd like to invite Peter at this point, Peter and Dumia, to respond to Caroline, who had a comment in the Q&A. Peter?
Hello, hi, Carol. I think I saw a question regarding some SMS that you get, saying that you have a facility, you have some loan default. Maybe you would want to share your details through our business banking department email, just for us to check. Just in case you also want to get more details, you can visit our branches through our relationship managers. They're able to check on the system and tell you whether possibly you have an existing e-credit or whichever loan that you ever took, but you can share maybe your mobile number, maybe your email address, and we could check for you and be able to sort you.
Peter, is there any other aspect that you'd like to comment about regarding anything in the Q&A? I know there's a question from David about how long do you take to process a loan normally, or any other thing that you may have had.
Yeah, I see David had asked how long do you take to process. And normally, what we promise is that once you put all your documents, the application letter, you should be able to get a feedback in terms of approval, or maybe a clarification that is needed more within 24 hours. So just make sure that then you have all the documents that possibly your relationship manager had asked, and you should get a decision within 24 hours. Rather, within 24 to maybe 48 hours, you should be able to get a decision. But in terms of now the whole process, it depends with the loan facilities. Some of the loans take a longer duration because you will be charging a property that takes a while. There are those loans that maybe you just give a logbook. The whole process, of course, will be shorter because the security perfection is shorter. For the e-credit, it should be an immediate answer in terms of you've qualified or you've not been able to qualify. Thank you.
Very good. All right. I guess I'll give an opportunity to Anthony to have some parting shots. If you'd like to, what would you like to say to our customers before we close today?
Thank you. But just before I close, I think just two very quick questions that have been asked. If you have a COP-TIL, a one-TIL solution, yes, there's someone who has asked, which we call it a COP-TIL. It's 400, 200. It's free. It doesn't charge the customer when they are depositing. Neither does it charge the recipient. I think that's a quick one that I've seen. Do you finance low-cost housing on a piece of land, vacant but title deed? How can the bank partner on this? Yes, please visit our branches. We have an acquisition mortgage loan. We have a construction mortgage loan. Please just visit and we'll take it further from there. I think for me, Sam, is to thank each and every participant, each and every MSME, and request and extend my invitation for all the MSMEs to come and patronize our services across all the network. Thank you so much and happy 2023.
Very good, very good. As the screen indicates, we are hoping for a beautiful 2023 of celebration and work and lots of fruits. So we're looking forward to that. It's been a great session. Right now, it's 12:30, perfect time for us to be wrapping up. But bear with me 2 minutes and then we'll finish. Right now, there's a big thank you that's coming through from Coop Bank and from AMI. But before we finish, I'd like us to get a quick brief of what we can expect down the next couple of weeks. Okay, so Fiona, I'm going to ask you to get on video and share with us. So we do this weekly. We do this every week, same time, 11 a.m. on a Thursday, and we get a guest together with us who briefs us a little bit about the economic context or a particular lesson that we need for our business. We grow a bit there. We also hear from the bank what offerings they may have for us, and we also get to answer, the bank gets to answer questions that you may have. So Fiona, I want to invite you to just tell us what can we expect over the next couple of weeks before we end today's session.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Sam. And thank you for all our participants for joining in our session. A special thank you to COP for enabling creating this environment. And a super special thank you to Joram for being a friend to AMI, for being a friend to COP, and just generally sharing his insights and kind of setting us into what 2023 would look like for SMEs. And it's really exciting, Sam, because a lot of what Joram has spoken about, things like how to operate, how operations would look like, how to build people, product, and profit would look like in 2023 for SMEs, is a lot about a lot of what we will also be going through throughout the remaining sessions of this year, now till September. So we'll cover things like operations. We have which will be doing now from next session. We'll be having operations. We're having things like growing beyond your borders. We'll be bringing speakers with experience from all across Africa, East Africa, West Africa. So if you're looking to expand, you're in the right place. We'll be having business efficiency topics. We'll be having people and leadership topics. We'll be having wellness topics, just to kind of take care of you as an entrepreneur. That way you're able to take care of your business, you're able to take care of your teams, you're able to grow well. We have legal and compliance. So we'll bring in lawyers to help you navigate the new laws, the new labor laws, the new data protection laws, tax compliance. I even see in our chat, we have people who offer business development services for SMEs, who also offer tax services and everything else. So sometimes we'll also be reaching out to you to be speakers for our sessions. And we really look forward to having a really fruitful year. And so, yeah, and a lot of times during our sessions, we'll also be spotlighting a lot of products from both COP Bank and AMI, products that we feel would be really useful to you and your businesses so that you can grow and thrive. So Sam, that's just basically it. And I'm happy everyone joined us today. And please keep on coming for every other Thursday, same time, same place. I mean, same link. So
yes.
yeah.
Every Thursday, yes.
Every Thursday. So yes. Loyally showing up. So thank you, Sam, and thank you, everyone.
Welcome.
Back to you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
There's one particular individual who said, go back to this slide. I believe they are looking at the GYB opportunity. I don't know if it was Christy or someone, I had forgotten to do this, for the screenshot. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, you can do that. I'll give you 5 seconds or so for you to consider. Otherwise, for those who may also be wondering about today's recording, I've put it in the link in the chat already. Joram Mwinamo has been our guest for today, all right? And his LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter are in the chat section right now. So that's Joram, in case you just stumbled in late. There's also a link to the recording and to the host or the whole list of library of recordings from past sessions. All right. Thank you so much. And we'd like to say a huge thank you for being here and wishing you a huge 2023. We can meet again next week on Thursday. So if you have had a great session, give us a thumbs up. Give us, let us know using your emojis, and then we'll be happy to let you drop off. But I want to say a big thank you. All right. Very good.